Quitting smoking for men. Pillar 1, purpose. I don't just mean plain old regular purpose, but purpose that is the kind that men like you require, specifically because of your biology and how you are wired in your brain. Are you a man and are you trying to quit smoking? Do you find it hard to quit smoking because you're stuck in addiction? Hint, you're not stuck because of addiction. Did you know that men's brains are wired differently than women's, especially in regards to how to quit smoking? How you quit is not the same as how a woman quits smoking. This is also true if you're a woman. You can watch my video on how women quit just by clicking the link here. This video is for men. Why? Because if you are a man and you want to quit smoking, then you need to understand the 3 pillars that make your quit unique. This pillar in the stacking method for men is called purpose. And there's actually 2 other parts as well, other than just purpose. There's something to overcome and a pillar called responsibility. These 3 pillars combine to describe how quitting for men is unique. So let's just hop right into part 1. Purpose. Most men are not connected to a true purpose that will help them quit, as we are so inundated with information that is not specific to how men think. Literally, men are bombarded with a million reasons to quit that has nothing to do with how men actually think. We are constantly told how smoking will kill us and how smoking is bad for your health and how other people hate that you smoke, or how we stink, and that how smoking is gross. None of this actually works for how the male brain works. We know from science this is not how male brains process information. Men are designed to fly in the face of danger, to oppose danger. If something is dangerous, we can and will overcome it. Giving yourself the purpose to quit because of health reasons does not really work for the male brain. This is not how our brains actually work. This is not the type of purpose for men that leads to success in quitting smoking. Doing something because others want us to just doesn't work. It doesn't work for the male brain. Men by their nature often break from the group. Men go out and take on nature and the elements, often in solo journeys. Man against nature. Men often swim against the current or swim upstream. Why? To stand out, to set ourselves apart from everyone else. In evolutionary terms, this helps males to attract mates. We are biologically designed to go against social pressure. I'm not saying we don't succumb to social pressure. Of course we do. Men do. We do all the time. What I'm saying is, if you are trying to find a purpose to quit as a man and a reason why to quit, it won't likely be following the crowd. We're just not wired that way. So if you're thinking about health reasons to quit, just throw it out and chalk it up to a reason to quit, but not your purpose to quit. Let's break this down into 3 parts. Purpose. The first part of purpose is, as I just described it, it needs to go against convention. It needs to be our own personal reason. It needs to separate us from the crowd. We need individual purpose. Purpose for us and by us and at the time and place of our choosing. It needs to be our reason, not someone else's reason. By the way, put in the comment section your purpose to quit. I would love to hear from men what they think their reason is or what their purpose is. Remember, there really are no wrong answers. It's your answer, and that's the important part. It's yours. Men, listen to what I'm saying to you right now. If I was leaving on a spaceship and I could only yell one thing to you in regards to your quitting, I would yell, trust your own thinking, trust your own thinking, trust your own thinking. Why? Because it's good thinking, and it is the only thinking you got. You have to trust your own thinking. You cannot trust someone else's reasons as to why to quit or why someone else thinks your purpose should be. If you do that, it's harder to see that it's wrong, and it's harder to change or alter your course. Plus, it gives you a built-in excuse to blame someone other than yourself. If you trust your own thinking and you're wrong, then it's much easier to see that it's wrong. It's much easier to admit that it's wrong, and it's easier to change directions. Trust your own thinking. This leads us to the second part of what you need for your purpose. For men, it needs to be rational. And I mean explicitly that it needs to be the opposite of emotional. If you're a man and you're making your reason emotional, like I'm scared to die or I'm scared to get cancer, this may be true. You may in fact actually be scared of these things. But do you notice you smoke anyways? You blame it on the addiction or on some other reason. Why? Because it makes sense, or at least that's what others tell us makes sense. But are we trusting our own thinking, or are we trusting someone else's thinking? But does this even really make sense to you? If we stop and apply rational thought and science, we know at some level that it's not the addiction that keeps us stuck. That doesn't mean we're not addicted. We just try and convince ourselves it's about addiction. We help keep ourselves stuck. Why? Because that's what others tell us. That's what the media says. That's what the doctors say. That's what the people sell you nicotine replacement therapy tell you. But it's not about addiction. It's a false reason and therefore a false purpose. It's why methods that treat quitting like an addiction, they just don't work. The patch, the gums, the drugs like Chantix, they just don't work. If it was an addiction, then these products would work better than placebo. The science is settled. Just Google efficacy rates of any program that treats smoking like an addiction, and you will see it's around placebo. And there's a reason for that. It doesn't work. There are a ton of rational reasons to quit, but they must be based on fact. The best place to find the facts is from science. Addiction is not what keeps us stuck. It's habit. We know this. You can watch my video on the science of addiction versus habit. If you want more information, I'll put it up here above me somewhere. So let's now move on to the third part of what your purpose must have. It's got to be practical. The male brain is wired to solve things. The male brain is wired differently. So for part 3 of purpose, the reason for your purpose must be practical and about solving something. Because this is how men see the world. We see a problem and we just want to solve it. We don't want to figure out the emotional reasons of why we need to quit smoking. We are not trying to solve a relationship issue with a parent, and smoking is our covert FU to our parents. Emotional reasons mean little to men. I'm not saying emotional reasons mean nothing to men. I'm saying, literally, we do not weigh their importance the same way a female would. The reason to quit is because we are solving an issue that is practical, not emotional, if you're a man. This third part of purpose is that we need something practical to solve. Our purpose is to solve the practical issue of smoking. Nothing more. There is no great mystery here. No great mystery to solve. It's not that complex. In fact, it's rather simple. I smoke, I no longer want to, and I have this practical issue called quitting smoking that is difficult for me, and I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring out how to solve it. It can really be that simple. As men, we have to set our minds to solving the practical problem of dealing with quitting and why it's hard to quit and why we're stuck. This means coming up with issues like how to get past cravings, how to deal with anger, how to deal with the brain fog, how to deal with withdrawal. For men, our purpose comes from within our own head. For clarity, I'm not saying men don't feel or we don't experience feelings about quitting. I'm saying it does not dominate us, and it is not what is getting in the way of quitting smoking. We are wired to solve problems without sorting through the emotional issues. That should indicate to you that your purpose as a man will not be emotionally driven. Not that it's not a piece of the puzzle, it's just not likely the dominant or important piece. So let's just recap the 3 parts of pillar 1, purpose. 1, men need purpose to quit, and that has to be individual and likely goes against conventional wisdom. 2, that purpose must have a good reason, and that reason must be based on reality. It must be rational and not emotional. And 3rd, it must be practical and about solving something. In The Secret to Quitting Smoking for Life, if you are a man, we use these pillars as part of the stacking method to make sure your quitting smoking lasts for life. In fact, we give you a lifetime guarantee. This makes sense to the male brain. The male brain can grapple with this. And this grappling leads to the 2nd pillar. Men need something to overcome. Men grapple with something that must be overcome. By the way, let me know in the comment section what your purpose is to quit. If you're struggling to quit, or if you're struggling to overcome or struggling to come up with a purpose, then in the description, there's a link to book yourself into a free phone consultation with me. I'm happy to help you in any way I can. Thank you so much for all of your time and attention, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.